All right, guys, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm not sure if it's going to work out. I hope it does. I'm trying to stream live this 3OhDAO Spaces on Twitter.
Yeah, my gaming went with this is I actually got kicked out of my guild in Diablo Immortal for because I was spending too much time in Shivatunity. The
You got kicked for inactivity, did you?
inactivity, and we were the immortals too. So yeah, it was a pretty big deal. But
This isn't the one, but I'm
definitely worth
just
it.
seeing if this is working.
Personally, I think that's probably a healthy lifestyle change, but
Yes, yes. No, one of the things I love about this is you can play it.
All right. Let's see. How can I figure out if that is working? Give me a second. All right, now we just need to find that 3OhDAO live stream. That should be starting in about 5 minutes. Do, 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 do. Play recorded. PC policy lobby team at 6 p.m. EDT to talk about regular policy. Originally, this was supposed to happen at 9 o'clock EST. So, did they already do it? Hmm. No doubt. No, okay, yeah. It's at 9 o'clock. All right. So, I guess that should be starting in about 3 minutes. What's up, Ryan? What's up, Crypto Dream? See you guys in the chat. Can everybody hear me? Let me know, please. Oh. Check, check. Can you guys hear me at all? Okay. All right, cool. All right, so once this starts, I'm dying to hear this. I'm gonna be interviewing these guys. I haven't set the schedule yet, but they're ready to go when I am. So I was looking forward to watching this, even though it's a little late and I should probably be in bed. Looking forward to watching this, um, to kind of get a vibe on these guys, you know. So when we do this interview, it's a little more familiar. What's up, Rurik? Rurik, shoot, am I saying that right? Welcome to the chat. There's a new name I haven't seen. Man, does this thing literally start like right at 9 o'clock? Do, 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 do. All right. Everything is discombobulated for me because I am not home. I am not in my office. I'm still dog sitting for my fiance's bulldog, and so I'm trying to get comfortable and set everything up here. Sorry, guys. All right, it's 9 o'clock. So, is there something else that I need to do here, or is this just going to start? There it is. Join this space. Let me know if you can hear the stream.
No,
Please.
I think sometimes people just like put it straight up beside their speakers and they're just like, yeah, it just does what it does. And hopefully everybody understands.
Shoot T.
For those
Okay.
of you that want to come up and speak, go ahead and just, I think, raise your hand and I can bring you up from there.
Rorik
That way we
Shoot
can
T.
get everything
All right,
going in
awesome.
a couple minutes.
Let's sit back and
Give a
listen
couple
to
minutes for everybody to get
let's
here.
know what's going on here.
Hey guys,
Good evening. How are you?
doing well, doing well. Checking out the that CFTC thing that Dan shared.
Yeah, I saw that too. It feels a little overreaching, but we'll see what pans out from it because it's always one of those things of how are they actually gonna try to prove their case on that side and show that it really is an issue.
And this is the same case that we were hearing about maybe a couple months ago. This is just the other shoe falling maybe for this.
All right.
I think
Let me
this is
get
the same
comfortable
one.
so I
There's
can talk to you
some
guys
news
while
a
we
couple months ago about
listen to this.
a DAO that was managing something like a DeFi protocol. I'm not sure if it was custodial or not, but I think this is the same one. The DAO is like a successor to the team that was managing that protocol.
Yeah, it is enticing, Ryan. You're right.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. And they're kind of using it and turning it into a for-profit. It'll be so. Is the real issue that they don't have an LLC, or is the real issue that they swapped, like you said, kind of took over ownership of a different company, a coin, whatever?
And I'm still reading through that release from CFTC, but I think the issue was that they were just engaging in some kind of illegal like futures exchange activity, and they weren't registered as a proper entity. And I think the fact that they're a DAO is kind of incidental to this, but that's just like the sense that I'm getting from what I've read so far.
That would make a lot of sense. Yeah, I was learning the same thing, but they did wrong. Because I feel like CFTC, that is what they always do, just like go after people for not registering, which is like valid, but their criteria of what constitutes the entity was a little whack.
Yeah, and it might. I mean, I still haven't finished reading this, but I think I agree. There's a chance this really may not be that much of a concern for DAOs as much as it's a concern for those that are like playing with things that are construably commodities and doing so in an unregistered way, which means that doesn't seem like a new kind of alarm, But
yeah, kind of like what you said. It seems it might just be coincidental that it's a DAO doing it, as opposed to just if anybody was doing it, it would be a problem.
Yeah,
I think we had that conversation, like you said, a couple months ago about that same thing. Yeah, that that it's just more the coincidence that it's a DAO that happens to be doing that and not being registered, as opposed to had any business done that, they'd be in the same boat.
Yeah, I'm just hoping there aren't any weird precedents that are set from this as far as like token holder liabilities. Anyway, I don't want to derail us before we even start, but yeah, it's an interesting situation.
Guys, don't forget the like button,
problem,
please.
No problem. Like, we can talk for a couple minutes. I wanted to give everybody about 5 minutes to get in, and then we can go from there because I know everybody starts spaces at different times. You can see the old professor in me. I have to start 5 minutes early, otherwise I feel like I'm late.
feel you. Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited about this one, and glad like you guys could come up here because this is kind of one of the big questions that we always get from a lot of different people that we come across is, oh, well, how's my identity safe? How can I be myself? Because I think that some people even can see the real world feasibility of having my ID be able to connect to different places or different things or different accounts or blah blah blah, but how can I keep it safe is really always that big question. So I think this will be a good info session for a lot of people that are kind of interested in that kind of thing. Like I said, that tends to be the primary question we get from people outside of the space. How am I going to be safe from all the scams?
Yeah, and I guess like the other thing we could maybe touch on is like communicating this to general audiences, because I'm interested in learning how ZK Merkle trees work, but something tells me it's not realistic to expect most people to know that.
No, definitely. I understand, or to understand, hey, why do I even need to know that? But no, I think what some of the implications of it are also that are cool is how we can tie it into the topic that everybody loves to talk about, which is blockchain voting and everything like that, and kind of see how that can play a role, because I think that some of the stuff that these groups are doing are pretty good stuff, pretty cool stuff. Some of it's outside of my normal realm of thought, and then you hear about it and you're like, that is a good idea. But if you guys are ready, we can go ahead and get started. And so that way, you guys
Absolutely, I'm ready.
share a little bit about yourself. I'm sure more and more people are coming in. I know a couple of the people on my side. I know that they're coming, but they just haven't popped in yet. So, but yeah, if you guys wanted to go ahead, of course, this is Doc or Randy at 3OhDAO, and we're getting together today to talk a little bit about Web3 privacy. Different have a couple different groups up here that that's kind of what they specialize in, or they're building different kind of protocols that are going to kind of enhance that security and that privacy using blockchain technology. Because one of the things, of course, people question is if it's completely transparent, then how can I keep this or that safe? And so these guys are coming up with solutions that kind of keep that at the same time allow that a little bit of anonymity, but at the same time that protection and that security if your identity does need to be out there. So if you guys want to start and kind of explain a little bit about what you guys are doing, and talk a little bit about yourself, that's fine too. We can kind of get some introductions going. We can start with well, Blake, you came in first, so I guess you get to start from there, and then I'll let you pick whoever's next in line from there to go next.
Sure. Thank you for having me. This is a cool topic and a great space, and I'm a fan of the other guests as well. So my name is Blake. I am in my daytime life, I guess you could say, I'm a coordinator for a 501c4 political activist group. And then here in crypto, I'm here representing Governor DAO. The GDAO ambassador's account is here as well. If you guys want to check into us more. Our main thing that is relevant to what we're talking about here today is our proof of existence technology. And that is an anonymous biometrics protocol that ties one user to one wallet, verifying that a wallet has a unique user attached to it. And kind of how that works is when a user enters our biometric portal, they give face and voice readings that is hashed on your local device, and that hash is then sent to Governor DAO, where it is verified that it is a unique user. Once that is verified that wallet is unique, the user can mint their own proof of existence token, and then that token can be integrated by any project simply by checking a wallet to see if it has that token. So that's kind of the basics on that, but we really like our solution as it is a way that kind of deals with Sybil resistance and bots and all that good stuff while allowing a user to control, fully control how much of their identity they want to reveal. Obviously, there are absolutely scenarios where, more KYC is needed, and folks can determine whether they want that wallet to be the same wallet or a different wallet or whatever it is. So we really like a lot of these different privacy-focused KYC solutions, including the other folks here, because it really opens up innovation and the ability for our space to continue to grow out and innovate in what I consider a healthy manner. So that's kind of the basics from us. You can learn more about our proof of existence at proofofexistence.xyz. I'll probably share it in the little message tracker for the space as well.
Awesome. Thanks for going through all that. I have let's go with next. We'll talk with Lobby 3 and let you kind of explain a little bit of what you guys are doing.
Sure, yeah, happy to. And thanks for organizing this space. I think this is a really, really integral, even to the CFTC charges we were just talking about. I think if there were some kind of identity verification processes there, maybe this charge could have been averted, but I'm still not familiar with the case to really distill it down to that. But it's a good example of the kind of needs that the space could be facing more prevalently moving forward. So some background on Lobby 3. It was founded earlier this year, February, March, by Andrew Yang, his core team, as a kind of an impact advocacy DAO, sort of a Web3 extension of the ethos of Humanity Forward, which is a traditional advocacy group focused on combating poverty and increasing financial inclusion. And their kind of foray into Web3 took the form of getting Lobby 3 started. And since then, Lobby 3 has been pretty community driven, and we've kind of determined our own vision and are pursuing it. And we're moving in the direction of fostering civic innovation technology, open civic innovation technology, including the ZKID that is being developed by Holland. So that's our kind of partnership there. The initial need we had for that was similar to what I opened with here, was that in our space that we're going to be moving into, which is lobbying, either direct lobbying or grassroots lobbying, we're inevitably going to face some needs for knowing who's engaged in these efforts to impact public policy. And so our need, as we originally articulated it, was proof of nationality or proof of residency. And that's something that we're exploring ZKID with more broadly, but the ZKID that Holland is developing is a broader solution than just proof of nationality. So I'm hoping we can touch on that as well.
Guys, let me know if that's too
pass
loud.
it off to Paula, actually.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing both of your projects. Really cool. Like I really love the space, everybody in it. It's some really interesting work going on. And yeah, as Kodamak was saying from Lobby 3,
Thanks, Ryan.
the CFTC stuff, it got me thinking as well. It's an interesting segue, because if there's a way to protect people's identities when there's this like regulatory uncertainty, while still making sure they're being compliant with regulations, I think this is becoming increasing thought-provoking question. It's coming in the space actually, so like, would be interesting to hear all your thoughts on that. But yeah, as far as what we do, so we're working on zero knowledge proofs of identity. So Lobby 3, we've been working with them on verifying that their members are from the US, because there are some laws that people outside of the US should not be able to influence US political matters. So we're looking to do that in a way that that not even we can tell who the users are. So, right, because all of that does require a government ID, and from the user's perspective, like that's I mean, it's a big privacy risk to give your government ID to like some random company. So we're looking at if we can like, well, not just looking at it. So we built a thing for Lobby 3 where you mitigate that risk by not even revealing with the company or the DAO or whatever uh, who you are. Just having your own zero knowledge identity, improving some aspects of it. So yeah, I think that's essentially what we're doing. Also understand like Sybil resistance and related stuff on the identity front, what it can enable. Like, could it even enable decentralized wallet recovery and one person, one vote type of stuff?
That's some awesome stuff. KYC DAO, I think you're left. So if you want to tell us a little bit more about what you have going on too.
Yeah. Hi everyone, and thanks for putting the spaces together. So I feel like we might be the most compliant one here because we are actually aiming to create the framework to be able to link compliantly verified identities where actually someone knows who we are, whether it's the company we are building or potentially another issuer in the framework that has an account with a verification that meets certain level of requirements. And then at the end of the process, we end up minting a soulbound signature that has whether a valid or invalid status that represents your account with the user, with one of the issuers. So in essence, like, I personally don't believe in decentralized KYC to meet compliance requirements. If you're talking about like regulation swooping in, and the CFTC case that came up would probably require someone actually knowing the folks who have been like voting and participating in the DAO. And this is like one of the use cases that we have been collaborating with quite a few companies on, enabling the ability to build compliant projects without the project knowing anything about the users, but that they are not sanctioned, then they can have access to the DAO and have access to the treasury and vote about the treasury spending. So yeah, happy to be here, and we're definitely the most heavy-handed, but I do love privacy, and so I think like our use case is very specific to meet regulatory requirements, and super good that like other tools are also being built that are definitely not this heavy-handed, but solve specific problems that come up in the anonymous Web3 space.
No, that sounds great, and I think it's always great to have kind of what I would kind of classify it as is helpful for kind of a real world transition, because what you're seeing is we see Web3 is kind of a future technology and something that we're looking at as something that is going to innovate and kind of continue to push our society forward. But it sounds like with what you guys are doing, though, it would sound heavy-handed for a DGen or someone that's on the DeFi side. Really, it's something that's kind of a bridge between the two worlds right now that we live in. And so, yeah, I think that's a useful technology to have also. I sent you guys a couple questions ahead of time, so that way anybody in the audience, if they were listening or they listened in later, they were wondering, why your responses were so quick. They did have it a little bit ahead of time, because there were some key questions that we had come up with from 3O that we wanted to kind of get their take on, because they're kind of the experts in this area and going to teach us a few things today. So I'm going to leave kind of the floor open to you after I ask the first one, and then you guys can respond. If you don't have anything to say or somebody kind of covers it, don't worry. We'll move on to the next question, and you can pop in there. And so the first one we sent was, when we normally see that identity protection and anonymity are major themes that our users are going to talk about on using blockchain, using the whole Web3 side of it. So what are you guys doing to kind of build onto that, kind of make that a safer space, I guess, is what we'd look for everyone? Because when we're looking forward to mass adoption, we know that these types of practices are going to be necessary for us to be able to advance into what we would say is including millions and millions and millions of more people and more, dozens and dozens of new technologies and new advances for it. So I'll leave that open to you guys to kind of fill us in.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I think this gets at something that KYC Dev said that I hadn't considered before, but there's almost two different approaches that are being taken here according to what the information we covered in our intros. And there's the know your customer, like the actual know your customer, the information about the people, and someone has access to that information to know the customers, to know the clients. And then there's the other version where it's decentralized and it's zero knowledge, and that information isn't available to anyone. Assuming the security model is sound there. And I think those are kind of meeting different needs. And they're not, like, I'm sure there are certain situations where certain use cases could go for either one. But I think there are other examples where use case really needs to have someone knowing that information. Then there are other use cases where it would be better to not have all that information be accessible to ideally anyone, yet alone everyone, if it's a public database. So I think that was an interesting thing that I hadn't thought of before, but these solutions are kind of addressing two different sets of needs, I think.
Yeah, that's a great point that you bring up. And I think that, yeah, when we're looking across that, like you said, you can always address it from which side of the need or which needs we're looking at from each side. So good response within that. So when you guys are looking at it and you're building it, you guys are building out these things, what are the primary kind of goals that you ultimately have? Like, I think that kind of explaining a little bit more about the goal, how it's going to benefit the user, not just the user today, but, the user down the road. And kind of what are your goals or your kind of your overall, direction that you're wanting to take these different protocols that you guys are working on?
Sure. Well, I'll also address the onboarding part real quick, and from our perspective, onboarding we've tried to make as simple as possible, both for users and for projects. And that's with the biometric protocol is been really simple with just some voice and face readings from our portal, and then of course those readings never get sent anywhere. They're hashed before sent anywhere. But then from the project perspective, just looking for a single non-transferable ERC20 token in a wallet to be able to provide Sybil resistance and ensure that everyone who interacts with a smart contract or a chat room or a metaverse or whatever it may be that's using it is a unique individual. So that's kind of how we are focused on ease of onboarding for both individuals and projects. It only takes about a minute, maybe two, to do the biometrics aspect. But then in terms of kind of what it does for the space, I see all the time these, and I think this is probably going to be similar for all our projects, but maybe a few more or differing aspects for the actual KYC aspects. But I see all these projects, heartbreaking scenarios where, the governance gets taken over by either whales or a whole bunch of new users out of nowhere, or NFT mints where bots or whales or whatever just buys out a whole mint before anyone can really get in there and have a chance to participate. So, having any of these solutions that are Sybil resistant and give projects the flexibility to protect their user base and their project, I think is going to be a huge benefit for the ecosystem at large as we go forward.
That it brought up an interesting idea or thought when I was thinking I was going to ask, and you probably have the answer for it. But are you guys working with NFT projects that are kind of dealing on that? Because I think that'd be a cool way to protect those. When you'll of course see if you get into any NFT project, next thing you know is that they'll have their little red dot on OpenSea. Basically, somebody flagged it as it's been stolen or some way like that. So
right. Well, so I don't remember the name of the project off the top of my head because I wasn't very well involved with it, but there was Actually, it was YCSM. I don't know if they're still around, but I believe we were the first mint, or we helped them mint through our NFT Launchpad, and they used our PoE system, and they were testing. They were just testing some cool aspects of NFT launches, and I believe we were the first mint to successfully have an entirely unique user base for every single NFT. Because you can limit it to one NFT per person, guaranteed through the proof of existence. So it was 100, I believe, 100 unique NFTs and 100 unique individuals. So that was a pretty cool first test use case that we had that turned out really well.
That's awesome. We're also interested in civil resistance here at H&M, like from a very different method. Instead of biometrics, it's from ironically like government IDs, which sound very bad for privacy, but actually if you obscure them with ZK, then provides like really strong form of civil resistance too. So like that's that's definitely a focus for us, and yeah, that's really cool that that you're already like helping an NFT project, because I mean civil resistance is really a problem in blockchain consensus as well. Like I don't know if any of these solutions will ever be used for blockchain consensus, but like there's so many places that we kind of don't realize civil resistance plays such a big deal, like how big a problem bots are everywhere in Web 2 and Web 3, and like yeah, Web 2 has never been able to come up with a good civil resistance technique, except by like very privacy intrusive mechanisms and very expensive mechanisms. So yeah, totally with you on that. Like I think that's one way the blockchain can totally change identity, because it enables all sorts of civil resistance use cases. And also on that note, like what blockchain can do for identity, like I think at first it's doing a bad thing making everything transparent, but like eventually you have tools like the ones people in Twitter space are building, and it's gonna really make privacy a lot more prevalent than Web 2, which I think is super exciting.
Yeah, I agree. And I like you said, when you started bringing up the bots, I hadn't thought about that. But yeah, that would be an interesting way to eliminate some of those bots, especially because, like you said, that's a big problem. At least early here, so you see with like mints and things like that, is that they're going to dive in there and buy as much as they can, as fast as they can.
Guys, if I turn this volume down, can you still hear it? Just let me know. I know it's a about 15-second delay, but let me know if the volume just went off.
In general, but eliminating some of those things that we know, like the bots and things like that, can kind of tilt the favor.
Okay. All right. So now this is on Twitter. You can go to the 3OhDAO Twitter page and follow it if you want. I knew that 3OhDAO was hosting this, and I don't know if you've seen some of the videos I've done over the last couple of days, but 3OhDAO is basically it's like a blockchain run super PAC that is basically working with candidates and lawmakers in Washington who are pro cryptocurrency and keeping it decentralized and really curtailing the regulations that the government is really trying to push right now. So I knew that they had titled this privacy and identity security, but I was hoping that they were really going to talk more about the 3OhDAO stuff. They're obviously not doing that. And so I'm not going to continue to just keep listening to this, even though it is very important stuff and very interesting stuff. If you guys want to go ahead and listen to it, you could just go to the Twitter and continue it. But what I want to tell you is that I will be interviewing 3OhDAO maybe this week coming up. They asked me if I had some space this week. I've just got to find the time with my work schedule right now. And we'll be talking about that other thing, what I just mentioned. Basically, they have a 3O token, and you can buy and sell and trade the token. You can do whatever you want. But if you hold in the token, then the money that is earned, the revenue, it's a non-profit, so all revenue that is earned goes to candidates and people that are running for positions, lawmaker positions in Washington, and supporting the ones again that are pro digital assets. And this company actually has a rating system where they monitor what different lawmakers, how they've voted over the years, and so we know which ones are with us fully, which ones kind of with us or whatever. And we can vote on how the money is spent, like whose candidacy we're actually going to support. Some angel investments, some different initiatives, not necessarily from lawmakers, but different initiatives that are looking to fight some of the big regulations that are really coming down the pike. So these are the things that I want to talk to these guys about, and that's what I'm going to be interviewing them about. Like I said, probably this week coming up. So I will let you know. I'll probably let you know on Twitter. So if you're not following my Twitter, which you probably are if you found this stream, but if you're not, follow me on Twitter. And if you are, just look for the announcement. And I'm sure I'll put it out a few times to let you guys know exactly what the schedule is and when I'll be doing that interview. In the meantime, I've got a couple other things going on, a couple other interviews that are going to be happening, and look for all that information on Twitter. All right. You can probably hear it in my voice. It is very late for me. I put in a long day. I'm working again all day tomorrow. I'm working Saturday. I'm working Sunday. So I'm kind of exhausted myself, but I'm gonna go get some sleep. So thank you guys for joining the chat. Ryan, Fire King, everyone else that jumped in, I really appreciate you all. And I'll probably talk to you tomorrow in Matt's live stream. All right, guys, have a good night. Ciao.